Hello, everybody. My name is Peter, and I am from the Independence Labs founders. And here is Mauro. Hi, Mauro.
Hello, how's
He's
everybody
a
doing?
member of the Independence Accelerator program for a couple of months already. First, Mauro, can you introduce yourself? What are you working on? What is your job? How old are you? And yeah, these
Yeah, of
details.
course. Yeah, of course. So my name is Mauro. I am an Argentinian, about to turn 30 now in March. I joined the program probably more than 6 months ago, I believe.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
a software engineer, so that's kind of gives you an idea of the kind of things I do. I guess to kind of explain a little bit of why I joined the program originally, I was a little bit all over the place. One of the difficulties I had with my finances was managing the different exchange rates and how I was both making money and spending it. So being in a very particular situation where I was, as a software engineer, making dollars, but then I had to spend pesos. And it was very complicated for me originally, basically because I live in a very unstable country where the exchange rate would change all the time. How much I would make would change all the time because I was making a static amount of pesos every month and having to all the time update and have an idea of how much I was spending, how much I was making was very complicated. So I was having a little bit of trouble with that in the moment. And what the Freedom system did for me was it first of all gave me access to basically experts or like people who, knew about finances who had similar worldviews on money that I had. So I was I've read different money books, I've read different finance books. I know I have like a general idea of wanting to, for example, do like a little bit of fire, like, retire
Yeah,
early.
yeah.
But I've always been in a weird situation where I was kind of fighting against my own currency, right? And so what what the free system did was it helped me organize and give me like a system that allowed me to first force me to write down everything that I spend, which it helped me form the habit, which was super, super important. So I started like writing it down every day. It kind of helped me find some sort of way of managing per day and then per month and then seeing what are the different trends for that. Another big one was I learned a lot about insurance through you guys, which is it sounds silly, but first of all, there's not a lot of really good insurance training. First of all, nobody watches or wants to watch insurance and training, but it was part of the system, like it was part of the freedom system. And so I was like, okay, cool, I'm
Yeah.
going to learn about this. Why is insurance important? What are the like the benefits, but also in my case, it was okay, why can't I just save up enough? So like just put it separately and then not pay an insurance. And then you end up finding, wait, there's a lot of benefits to having an insurance or some medical plan. A lot of them is also just speed. So if you already have insurance and you have like a medical emergency, you could just go say you have insurance and then you just fly off. If instead you
Yeah.
have to, go and say, no, I could pay for it in the moment, weird things happen, like things don't go as fast. That was also like my experience with a situation I had like less than 3 or 4 months ago.
What happened?
Basically, I had not a insurance per se, but I had a medical payment plan that I paid every month. Or, my partner had one that didn't apparently it didn't cover overstay or like like immediate emergencies or things like that. And then when we
Yeah.
went, they told us, okay, yeah, no problem, but for us to be able to process you, you have to give at least like $1,000 and it had to be dollars. And we were in the hospital and it had to be cash, so it couldn't even
Oh,
be like credit card or anything, which is what I usually have. So I would have to had gone to my house, get the cash, and then go to the hospital when you had like an emergency in that very moment, which was not fun. And so that was also like a slap in the face in that moment. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
there's a lot of value in that.
Yeah.
But there's also just in general the idea of what the freedom system teaches you is you're going to have planned expenses and then unplanned expenses. And the unplanned expenses, you can more or less, even though they're unplanned and they're unexpected, on a big enough time frame, they can become planned. And one of the strategies to turn an unplanned medical emergency into a planned one is by having insurance. So if
Yeah.
it, even if it's not medical, it could be like a fire emergency or something like that. Having insurance gives you peace of mind and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And those are like some of the ways in which the freedom system helped me change a little bit my way of thinking. Or like in my case, I was very open to having my ideas challenged or just having information and learning from them. By just, it's the kind of thing that you don't know that you should know, especially if you grew up in a family that doesn't really teach you that kind of stuff, or maybe they don't know themselves, which is my case. And so
Yeah.
those are the kind of things that help me to basically teach me these sort of skills or ideas that I didn't know about, help me organize my own finances, help me build up habits through accountability, and also basically weekly or bi-weekly calls where I can ask any sort of question and just try to like, I have people to help figure it out with me, which was super, super valuable in my case. And then
What was
separately,
yeah,
yeah,
sorry for
go.
interrupting. What was
Uh,
your goal when you joined the program and did it change after that?
So I've always been the sort of person who wants to be rich slowly. So I'm okay with having yeah, I think a lot of the marketing with the free system is okay, we're gonna organize it so that you can get rich faster. I'm the kind of guy who's like, no, I'm okay with like waiting 15 years to have all the money I want. Also because I've always been the kind of person who just invests in index funds, puts as much money as I can per month, and then have it grow over time, which is
Yeah.
a lot of the ideas from books like what was it called? How to Be Rich by like Ramit Sethi, which is where a lot of my previous knowledge came from. But
Yeah.
one of the benefits from the freedom system is respecting that idea, but also thinking about more shorter term investments, especially because I'm more or less young and I'm starting to make a little bit more money, where I can
Yeah.
be a little bit more risky, especially with money that I have left over in the month, and thinking of ways of how to, invest in this or invest in that. What sort of different types of investments there are. So before I thought it was just stocks and real estate. And then you have other types. You have different types of real estate. You have venture capital, you have private investing, how to find different opportunities. You end up talking with a lot of experts here. One of them is Peter, another one is Martin, on how
Yeah.
to find opportunities, not just, oh, how to invest, but in your life, how do you end up creating or forming relationships where that opens the possibilities of that happening. And also
Yeah.
just, letting people know that you're open to invest or finding opportunities. And then once you have an opportunity, you can actually go to the group and then ask, is this a good opportunity? Why isn't it a good opportunity? What would this need to happen to be a good opportunity? And so it ends up being sort of a guiding light of, slowly forming the skills to learn about all this investment stuff, because investments are, the best way to grow financially. But also not only skills, but also the knowledge of identifying what's a good investment and what isn't and why,
Mm.
while also being honest about the risks of it. So if an investment sounds too good to be true, then it probably is. But also, how risky is it? And could you find investment opportunities that aren't so risky, or that, you have to look into it and then you realize, oh, okay, it's not that much, or it's a level of risk that I am willing to take because the money I put in here, I could probably make later if
Yeah.
everything were to go.
Awesome. What would you say to the people that are wondering if they want to join the program?
That's a good question. I'd say that it's a sort of decision where you have to look at the ROI of it, but also you get as much out of the program and the accountability and the people in it as what you put in.
Mm.
So, it takes a little bit of prioritization of having the calls, being present, sitting down with the free system like Excel, trying to understand all these weird terms in it and slowly working through it day by day, week by week, and building a habit. So yeah, it's more about what you're willing to learn, what you're willing to understand, especially during the first few months as you go through the different courses that try to teach you all these skills. In my case, it was a little expensive because I live in Argentina and the purchasing power of the peso is very, very bad in general. So something that's like $1,000, for example, in my case is, oh man, it's about a few months of savings.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I probably wouldn't have been able to join the program if Peter wasn't nice enough telling me to like pay it in monthly installments. And
Yeah.
also, honestly, a level of trust that I haven't seen in many people, because it wasn't you put your credit card in and then it charges you monthly. So, you lower the risk of somebody just flaking. But it was always like, oh, every month he messages me, hey, there's the date. And then I
Yeah.
would every month for like 6 months pay like the amount for it. I definitely did feel like I got a good ROI from it. I learned about mortgages through the program. Argentina doesn't have any sort of mortgage program, or it's very, very limited and at very high in a percentage like of interest. And so I ended up learning how, even though right now I don't have the possibilities, if I were to ever go to other countries or live in a country, or even until Argentina ends up getting better, how other people, end up making money or basically use like a bank's money or different loans to generate even more from it.
Do
I
you
guess
see
that's
now more clearly how you're gonna reach financial independence and your
Yeah,
goals?
yeah, definitely. It allows me to sort of shorten my horizons of being like, okay, well, maybe it doesn't have to take 15 years. Maybe it'd be like a lot shorter. It also helps me understand how other people make money, which is
Mm.
always a fog around it. Because it's like, yeah, like I bought another apartment using this loan. And it's like, how? Like how does that work? But yeah, like
Yeah.
it cleared a lot of things for me. And it just that knowledge alone, I feel like it paid for the program. If
Yeah.
not now,
Yeah.
then like, in a little bit.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, even if we share some results, we've calculated with you that for those months, basically you increase your net worth with 2% per month, which is like around
Mhm.
10 to 12% for
Yeah.
those months. And you increase your income also
Hmm.
from, it's not, directly from the program, but being part of it, just looking for something else. And these are some of the results that we can also share. And hope pretty soon that we're gonna share some also better results too. So
Yeah, of course. I'm happy about
awesome.
that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mauro, for that.